Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats, talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Bum bum bada bum bum bada bum bum. Hello everybody, and welcome in to Winter is Blooming, a Game of Thrones rewatch podcast by us, the Penny Bloom Podcast. It is I, Colton Robertson, and today I am joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. Today we are talking Dark Wings, Dark Words, Season 3, Episode 2, written by Vanessa Taylor and directed by Daniel Minahan.
Dark Wings? Dark Word? Wing is in like a animal wing?
The way that I take it is the Raven stuff in this episode.
That'll do it. My head was too much in dragon mode, but that makes
Raven
sense.
Wings.
There we go.
Yes,
there we go. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this was a solid episode. You know, it wasn't anything that made me go like, "Holy shit, I can't believe the show is as good as it is." But it also like. There's this odd thing with this show where no matter what, that's kind of just like the automatic setting for it, where it's like, oh, this is just that good. Like this is just that good of a show.
I think this episode was more of just like a reminder on the rewatch. It's like nothing absolutely crazy. You know, you can't really pick apart one thing in this episode where you're like, oh yeah, well, Battle of Blackwater, you had a big green explosion, or you can't really pick out one massive event. But it's just the whole episode is just super slow, not really much. It's just people talking, and that's
so good.
That's all that's happening. And I don't know, it's just a reminder of how consistently good the show can be.
Right,
just all the time.
Yeah, these are my favorite episodes because, like, whenever we come to our favorites, inevitably later on, these episodes are the hardest ones to pick favorites for. I had a tough time deciding, like. Not because no scene was like, whoa, obviously that was great. They were all great, just in the same way. It was kind of difficult to, so it was a real fun one to pick favorites for, and I look forward to getting to that point. Shall we begin?
Oh yeah, I guess the only location Danny, or just over in Essos, I guess. Is that the only people we didn't hit this episode?
Yes, it is. Okay. It is indeed.
That's what I thought. Okay,
you were scaring me. It almost sounded like you didn't watch the same episode as me because I thought you were going, did we only stick with Danny this week? And I was like, in fact, we didn't see her at all.
See her. I was like, okay. I'm like, we didn't get Danny, and I'm like,
came through at the end there with the last few words. Yeah, we're good.
That could have been very scary, but no. I was like, well, we missed Daenerys, but everyone else, every character that has been established has just honed their craft on, like, you can just tell they're their character now, and then we get introductions to, so, like, I don't know, this episode was just...
Oh, we get some incredible character introductions, extremely important character introductions. This is the first appearances for Olenna Tyrell, Jojen and Mira Reed, Ramsay, Thoros Amir, like, just... all sorts of characters who end up being pretty long-term importance, which is cool. But what you going crazy about over there?
I just saw your hair.
Just got all braided.
Wow, yeah. People don't know this, but
no.
Wow, okay, it looks great. Sorry,
I appreciate it. No, it was a tangled mess for like days. So last night Emily brushed my hair and braided it and stuff because if I don't take care of it, she will.
That's what the ladies always do.
Yeah,
they always take care of us whenever we.
Yeah, I'm like and I know it's terrible. I have long hair. I should be managing it a little bit better, but I just like throw it up. I just throw it up in a bun, and I'm like, I'll deal with it later. You know,
I don't know. That's
it'll
the
be
thing.
fine.
You could have like this show. People have like that. I don't know. I can't play someone in this show really, in
Oh,
character
right,
too
right.
well. But you could like get into characters so well with so many people.
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I feel like you could. I think you could pull off like a nice Lannister cousin.
That's what I was saying. I was like,
Yeah,
man, sadly, in the Game of Thrones universe, I would be on the Lannister family. It's like,
yeah.
it's whatever. I'd choose to leave though. That'd be my.
Right.
I'd leave.
And you don't have to be a part of like the core four or anything.
I
You
guess
could.
Tyrion's a thing. Yeah, Tyrion's
Yeah,
cool. He's a
yeah.
Lannister, maybe, but
We're pretty
uh,
sure.
yeah, half. Don't know where
Right.
the other half comes from, but I don't know. But man, I guess no, I'll save it because I that's the thing. I want to jump into so many different scenes in this
Right.
in the episode, but it's like I don't know. I can't.
There's a bunch of good shit going on here, but we do begin beyond the wall.
Oh yeah.
Jon Snow is marching slowly south with the Free Folk Army, and at the right beside King Beyond the Wall, Mance Rayder the whole time. Interesting that it's not like he's like taking him under his wing or anything. I'm curious why Mance Rayder would keep such a close eye on Jon Snow. Like, what is it about him that makes him go, you know what, you're by my side the whole fucking time? Like, I think that's interesting.
I was wondering because he was Mance Rayder was a member of the Night's Watch before he left and did everything. So I was like, well, maybe it's more of a familiarity. He hasn't seen someone else in so long, and everyone else that he unite. He even says like, how do you think I got all these idiots to come? Not idiot. I don't want to call them idiots, but like in his mind, he was like, these people don't know what the fuck they're really doing. I united all of them, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, so I think it was more of just like John understands the real world as Mance knew it, and they know all of the bullshit and stuff that goes on in the real world that the Wirelings actually don't know of. So that was like the only thing I could kind of piece. But
one of my favorite ideas about this is like part of what makes him a good king.
Yeah. Oh.
Is like not just.
Oh, Mance, you mean?
Yeah, Mance.
Oh,
like
okay.
a new person shows up and he doesn't treat them like he's higher up than them. He doesn't treat them like he's better than them. We don't kneel before anybody. I'll walk by your side and we'll talk about things together. If you have it's like, I think it's just something that makes people want to follow Mance a little bit. And I think it's certainly something that ends up making Jon Snow respect him and ultimately taking after him in a lot of very important aspects.
John's his resume. He's building quite the resume. He's kind of the intern at the Night's Watch. For
his letters of reference are going to be really, really good.
And now he's interning for the King Beyond the Wall.
Right.
Basically right now, just learning everything he can. He's being a sponge, absorbing everything.
Exactly.
And I don't know. I like that.
God, man, watching shit like this makes me go like I'm glad he gets what he wants at the end of the show, but it feels pretty clear that they were grooming him to be king, right?
Very clear. Now on the rewatch, it's abundantly clear. He's with every leader. He is the conversations he is having are about leadership and about morals and everything.
Yeah.
And I guess it's what we wanted to happen. We still got the true ending, I guess, to leave up in the air whenever that comes out. But for the show, I think maybe it's what we wanted. But that's not necessarily what should happen.
Exactly. I think there's this thing about Jon Snow that's really, really cool because he's always kind of done up to this point what was expected of him. Like he keeps saying this is what he wants, and he keeps not getting that, until Gior gives in and is like, yeah, go ahead, go with Corn Halfhand. Like, yeah, go ahead, do this. Like, fucking fine, you're gonna be a steward, not a ranger. Like, okay, fucking fine, all this shit across the board. Where it's not until he leaves the Night's Watch that he really starts doing things his way. And the final stick in that coffin is him going, I don't want to be king. I'm gonna go live beyond the wall. deuces. You know, like he's like, I'm fine.
The best kings are the ones who don't want to be, because I mean we'll get
exactly.
to King's Landing later with the current king, and he likes to call himself, he likes to be at heard, likes to hear it, but it's like no one sees him as the king right now.
No one respects you like that guy. No.
He's the furthest away from the throne, like right now, out of all of the people who have. Brand's getting there. They're meeting. So it's like, of all the people who eventually will
in Westeros,
yeah, it's like he's so far away, but I don't know. Like Mance, he's getting the right lessons from like the right people. Like he was brought up from Ned. Like you got to think of all the just honorable things Ned's. That's why he's so honorable in the way he is. He was just brought up by Ned, and now he thought he wanted to join the Night's Watch. It was everything he wanted, and then he got there, so like everything doesn't quite go his way, but man, is he just, it's going the right way in terms of king shit, I guess.
Yeah, right.
And yeah, I guess
like he's being molded into a fantastic leader, and I think that I just love the guy. I remember watching this for the first time. Not even yet. Like, still not yet was I like, oh man, I love Jon Snow. Like we're still not there yet. Like it's, I remember being like, oh, I like this guy, and I like when we go up north and we talk about it. We do the stories that he's involved in, but it's not until like probably next season. The more his and Egret's romance gets fledged out, the more am I like, oh yeah, I really like this guy. Keep going back to Jon Snow. We're definitely at the beginning of that upward slope, though, of like, oh yeah, this is the guy. I really like this guy. But Mance is explaining his army and its diverse force, about how he's got over 90 different groups or clans of wildlings, 7 different languages in his army. They all have internal rivalries. The Thens hate the fucking Half-Foots, and the Half-Foots hate the fucking hobbits.
Everyone hates the fucking cave people, though. I love how you do that one. And he's like, yeah, everyone hates the cave people. It's like, I don't know. I love this. Just any time that this, I don't know what to call
world building.
Like, yeah, world. Like, but no, like the idea behind it of like even though it's Game of Thrones and fantasy, and he's uniting people beyond the wall and stuff like that, like it's not any different from the world, like the world we live in. He's just telling, what he's basically saying is like, everyone's been lied to their whole lives, and I just came up here and told everyone the truth. I told everyone they're all going to die. It's the bad truth, but it worked to unite them. And I don't know. That's the thing, is that he said whether he told them that they were all going to die, and that was what did it. I don't know. I think it was more of just he was honest with everyone. He was just the first one to be like,
he's real.
Yeah. He's just actually real and actually cares for the. I don't know. I guess I don't know. Doesn't necessarily love the people, but he's like, well, we'll die if we don't do anything, so we need to do something if you want to stay living. So it's like, the dude is just, I don't know. I fuck with
fights for the side that fights for the living. Yeah. Mance is a real one, man. He's a real dope character, and he only I think he lasts all the way through season 3 and 4. Like I think he lasts a while.
I don't remember. I have zero idea how he goes. I'm assuming he dies.
It's good though. Like it's a real good scene.
Happens, but
and you'll remember it as soon as you see it. Go,
that's usually how it happens with the
that
show.
Was good. Yeah,
that's why the rewatch is so good. Is you're waiting for those moments that are going to kind of come up, but then the things that you forgot, you're like, oh man, I forgot the show was just so good.
Oh yeah, it's just there's just so much that happens that it's impossible for you to remember it all. You just even at this point, like I feel like I know this show pretty much front to back, and there are episodes that come up where I'm like, oh, that happens now. Like I know what happens, but I don't know when it happens. So like it just keeps being like, oh shit, we're already there. I love shit like that. But Mance goes ahead and brings Jon to one of his scouts, Orell, who he's a warg, and he's sitting there with his eyes rolled back in his head as an eagle circles above them. And Jon's like, the fuck's wrong with him? And Egret's like, what, you never seen a warg? And Mance has to explain that a warg is a person who is capable of entering the mind of an animal and seeing what it sees and even controlling its actions. And Orel controls his menagerie to scout miles ahead. And Mance asks him, I loved the way Mance and Tormund like got up in his face. They were like, what'd you see this time?
Yeah,
You know, like
is it that they're just wanting to know, or is it kind of like that they have to bring him back into reality sort of thing? Because that was when I'm like, it was really interesting.
I think it makes more sense for it to be like they need to ground him in like what's real, what's really in front of him. So they have to get up in his face and be like, yeah, like, come back, man. We're right here. Yeah.
So he said it was at the Fist of the First Men and just dead crows. That was it. But where is the Fist of the First Men? Like,
it's where the fight happened at the beginning of the last episode.
So he saw the actual.
Yeah, he saw the. I think he saw the result
or a pat. It was actually like he was in the air, just real time sort of thing.
Yes.
Okay,
he just saw it.
And
that's why it's real time, is because they're not there anymore. He didn't see the fight; he just saw what was left behind.
So I guess a warg is you are literally just entering the mind of an animal at that time. That's it.
Yes.
There's no
three-eyed raven thing about that. A warg literally. There's no time travel involved. It's just projecting into the mind of an animal. And we've already seen Bran do that, obviously, several times. And the best portrayal of like the real timeness is whenever he warged into Summer. And Summer like ran through the Winterfell courtyard, jumped into his bed and looked at his face. And then and Bran woke up and he was right there. Like,
that's true. Yeah. I just didn't know if it was, they didn't know. Like they thought that it was present time and sort of thing, but it could be like ambiguous, you know.
I get you.
Because I'm like, the first minute, I'm like, well, what else happens at the Fist of the First? Does anything else really happen out there? Like, there's a fight like at Castle Black, like at the wall, and more stuff happens like at the wall. And I'm like, yeah, I was just anything that has to do with Bran or warging or anything, I'm like looking into. But it's
and this is the first real step toward, like, this episode is the first real step towards that mythology being explored, and it's really fucking cool. I really love Jojen and Mira, and I can't wait to get there and talk about it. But I love the way Orel looks up and he's like, dead crows. And John's like, okay, man, shit, sorry.
Like, you didn't have to look right at me when you said that. Like,
yeah, like, man, that's brutal. Kind of a dick for that. Why'd you look at Mance? He was a Night's Watchman, like shit. But nevertheless, Lord Commander Gior Mormont of the Night's Watch is leading the few survivors of the slaughter at the Battle of the First Men South in hope of reaching the wall. And Samwell Tarly just cannot keep up. You got Rast back there being a little bitch. One of the most unlikable characters in this entire show.
Sucks. Yeah, that guy sucks so hard.
Oh, you wanna lay down, little piggy? Like, oh, dude, somebody stab this motherfucker, please.
Is he in the party that tries to kill Jon and that gets hanged, or no? Because there's like 4 people that get hanged, and it's like
there's something that happens prior to this that I can't remember if he makes it that far.
I don't think he dies in the hanging. I think it's
because they take over Craster's Keep whenever they get back.
That guy, or just the
Rast and another guy. Like some of the Night's Watchmen take over Craster's Keep.
Too much in this show. It's insane how deep. How do you remember all of that? How?
Oh, I can't. Well, that's the thing. I can remember that happened. I can't remember how big of a part Rast was of it, though.
Okay.
I can't remember if he like was one of the main guys who was like, yeah, let's fucking do this shit, which I assume he is. They're kind of building him up to be the biggest asshole in the Night's Watch, which is a really tough thing to be. But like, yeah, I remember that happens, but I can't remember if Rast makes it out of that. I can't remember if he incites it. I can't remember what. I remember one thing he does, and it's like, oh yeah, this guy fucking sucks. But regardless, he's giving Sam shit about how he's a fat little piggy and how he's, slowing them down and how he should just lay down and die. And Sam takes his advice. He goes ahead and drops to his knees. And I love Gren and Ed coming back and be like, come on, man. Like, we gotta go. You gotta get up. You gotta fight through this. And he's like, you left me.
Oh
I
man.
can't.
Yeah, you had like every version of like the Night's Watch brothers here. You had the guy that just straight up bully, asshole, fuck this dude to the day he dies. You know, you have that whatever. He's just getting in. What's his name? I already forgot. He's
Rast?
Yeah, Rast. It sucks anyways. I don't even want to speak it out loud, but dude is just because he went through all the fighting and stuff, he has to feel better about himself, so he has to unload it on other people. But then you have like two friends that are, I would call them friends.
Yeah, they're pragmatic.
Yeah,
they're practical.
One who is like, all right, Sam, let's get up. Come on, like being the actual helpful, like, all right, we got to get up. But then the other that's like, well, yeah, actually, we did leave you to die.
We did leave you. You're slow. You're fat and slow, and we didn't want to die.
And it's just very real. A true friend. It's just very too real at that point.
Well, his nickname is Dolores Ed, and Dolores means like sour, down, sad. Like he just has like a really sad, real perspective of things, and he's like, they literally call him it. Like he's like, you are so depressing that you are now Dolores Ed.
I see that now because like I didn't really pick up on that, I guess, before, but man, everything that comes out of his mouth was just like, well, yeah, I know we didn't want to die. Yeah, you were just
negative.
Well, whatever. Yeah, and
you're fat and slow, and we didn't want to die. And the way Gren looks at him like, dude, come on. He wants to lay down and die right now. Don't tell him things like that.
You're saying the worst thing possible for him right now. And you got, I don't know. This is my line of the episode. Whenever Lord Commander comes up,
when he's like, "Yo, what the fuck's going on here?" And they're like, "Well, Sam doesn't want to get up," and he's like, "Tali, I forbid you to die."
He literally, he is taking care of a bunch of kids. Like literally, it's like he walks over there. He's like, "All right, what's going on?" He's like, "All right, what the fuck's happening?" He's like, "Oh, okay, whatever. I forbid you to die. All right, now let's go." It's like,
okay,
literally,
he is life or death babysitting,
and
which is not something people do.
In my headcanon, I take this order that Sam has gotten from the Lord Commander. It's, I forbid you to die. Sam, he makes it. He's Maester Tarly. Master Mace. What is the
of the 5 people in this scene with Gren, Ed, Dior, and Rast, and Sam? He's the only one who lives through the entire show, which I thought was like that thought occurred to me while I was watching it. Like I was like, oh, it's so funny that they're working so hard to keep him alive right now, and he is the only one who lives. Like he is the only one who stays alive throughout the show.
Any one of these moments where they didn't go back and get him though. Like if they didn't go back and pick him back up. If Lord Commander didn't say, "I forbid you to die, let's go."
And the fact that he tells Rast like, "Yo, yeah, you got to make sure that he gets back alive. If he doesn't, you don't."
Oh, like I don't know, Lord, like what's his first name? I know it's more
Gior.
Gior. Yeah, Gior. Like he's just an underrated. I don't know. He's just cool. Like he just has his stuff figured out. It seems.
He's one of those characters in this show where you're like, man, I didn't really pay attention to him the first time I watched this, or even the second time. But here on this rewatch, god damn, is he a cool guy? He just gets it done.
Not that big. Yeah, not that big of a role. Nothing super great. I don't know. He gave John some lessons. He gave him Long Claw. Right? Long Claw.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. So like I don't know No, but yeah, I feel like I wanted to give him a line because I didn't feel like he ever got anything. I heard the line. I even texted you right when I heard it. I'm like, that's just I don't know. I knew it was my line for the episode just because it's just that Game of Thrones humor. It's like that's not really funny.
I forbid you to die, but I don't know. How do you tell someone you forbid them to die?
Exactly. Like my reaction to that was I laughed. I literally just started laughing once I heard it because I'm like, that's just the funny. Like that's just I don't know. Like, the Game of Thrones, it's not funny. It's not. That's the thing. I don't know. Game of Thrones humor isn't funny, but it's funny for the show. It doesn't make sense, but I love the Game of Thrones humor.
I do love how much they respect and kind of maybe not fear Gior, but like he is their leader and they follow him as such. You know, like whenever Gior walks back there, before he's even said a word, Sam pops up. He gets back on his feet and he's like, okay, all right, I guess I'll keep going, whatever we need to do. And then he gets forbidden to die and he's like, okay, and then I guess I'll be fine.
We're on our way now. Yeah, like, I don't know. I love the Beyond the Wall stuff. It's so what, I guess they're just heading back to the wall now. So
yes,
okay.
They're heading back south.
Okay,
they're like, well, we've seen all we need to see. Let's go.
Fought an army of zombies, and holy fuck, let's go back home. Yeah, that'd be rough. But so a lot of them died, though. I'd say, he's
and they frame it like that a little bit more in this episode than they did last episode.
It seemed like it was just I don't know. I didn't even really have the idea that they fought the White Walkers, really, really until we got to the podcast, and you're like, yeah, well, they defeated them and went on. You're talking about it. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess they did do that. Like the
they would have had to, yeah,
like that's what had to have happened, but it just wasn't shown. So like, I just didn't hit. I don't know.
Hey, they were saving that budget.
That's fair. Fair. Whenever you think of what would actually have to be filmed, we get that eventually. So it's like that would have been rough. But
they're like saving it a little bit, because we only see people fight the White Walkers a couple times. It's Hard Home and the Battle of Winterfell is the only time we really see it. I mean, the series Beyond the Wall, but that's not a giant battle. That's 5 dudes versus the entire army. The entire army of the dead.
A lot of wildlings at that point, though.
A lot of wildlings, a lot of dead wildlings because of Hard Home.
It's everyone. He just man.
Well, I suppose it would probably be exclusively wildlings.
At that point, it's pretty
because it's all north of the wall.
I guess the old ass zombies that just, if they live forever, that'd be the only other non-wild.
I take it that as long as you don't get stabbed by a dragon glass you keep thriving and surviving. You know what I'm saying? But dead.
Surviving and thriving, but dead.
But that did conclude the story north of the wall, and we just head a tad bit south to the north, where Bran Stark is once again dreaming that he is walking and hunting in the woods. New little dreamscape for him, and frankly, the way they kicked off the episode with this, it made me a little emotional right off the bat. Like this is a good scene, and I forgot it even happened, and I was just like, man, he sees the mysterious 3-eyed raven again, and he aims the bow at it, and then we see the same perspective of John and Rob from the very first episode of the show, giving him some nice lessons, and when he shoots and misses, they giggle, and then you hear from a voiceover, Ned Stark, "And which of you was a marksman at 10?" And I was like, damn it.
That isn't that insane? That just in a little flashback. It's just guys.
We don't even see him.
That's it. Yep. Nope. Don't even see. Just whenever I saw just John, Rob, and Bran in the same shot, just together. They're there. I mean, not there. Obviously they're not actually there, but it's like, oh my god, that's already like that doesn't happen ever. All of them.
Yeah. Like I was like, this might be the last time we see that.
And I'm like, this is already great. And then I hear Ned's voice, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, you didn't have to really go and do that, So yeah, I was in the same exact headspace. I was just like, so comfortable, Well, there were just Winterfell, or I don't know. It's nice, and then
there were just a couple scenes throughout this episode where I got like a little emotional, and there was like no real. Like there was nothing truly sad happening on screen. I just like welled up, and I don't know why. I don't know if I was just in a vulnerable place last night, but this shit just like I was like, God damn, this shit is good. I don't know.
We haven't gotten to Catelyn's story,
That was another one. Yeah.
But like the transition from her story back to John, she was like got through her whole model, which we'll get to because holy fuck.
Yeah.
But then it. Like the transition back to the north of the wall, it shows John, and it plays just like that. I don't know if it's his theme necessarily, but it kind of is. It's like it's the theme. Yeah, it's and like that was another part where I was just like, oh my fucking god, like holy shit, this show's just so beautiful. So it's not necessarily like sad. I mean, it was sad what she was talking about, but I get you. It's the show's just that good that it gets you to become emotional.
Well, and it's not just that; it's the fact that we have sat with, at this point, we've sat with these characters for 21 hours.
Dang.
You know, like it doesn't matter if it's anything truly emotionally riveting. Just knowing the characters as well as we know them, knowing the way certain little things impact them. There's another one later on that I can't wait to talk about that just like was really cathartic and was just like, oh, fucking finally, you know, and we'll get there. But nevertheless, in his vision, a stranger appears, and the boy tells Bran that he cannot shoot the raven because the raven is you. And then Bran like looks at the three-eyed raven and then wakes up and you hear the caw, and he like the fucking the raven caw and him waking up at the same time. It was perfect.
Hodors.
I was gonna say we had to get a couple Hodors.
And so nice too. He's just come, Hodor, are you okay? You know, are you? Yeah. And then it's okay, Hodor, I'm all right. Hodor, and walk away. So we got a worried Hodor and a nice, okay, everything's fine, Hodor. So
I love the contexts within which the Hodors occur.
Oh yeah, it's just like Grogu. You know, I have some of his quotes in the Mando, watch that we got going on. He's not actually saying that, but we know he's saying. We know what he's saying. Hodor.
Well, it's the same thing. I just watched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 yesterday, and Groot. You know, there's this part at the end when Yondu has passed, and he's like, I am Groot. And Rocket, he's like all sad and contemplative, and he's like, I am Groot. And Rocket's like, he did call you Twig, you know? Like he's like, yeah. Like it's just the sad, the Chewbacca, Groot, Hodor, you know?
What is it about the characters that just can't talk fully? That just
makes them all the more compelling because I think it's because it simplifies their emotions and it makes them very easily accessible.
On their emotion, you can't have it be told. Oh, okay, that's
like
you have to write it. Yeah,
they feel things more clearly because they don't get to talk their way through them. You know, it's like when Chewbacca is sad or upset or he doesn't want something to happen, and like he doesn't get to go, oh no, I don't like this. You know, like he
I didn't actually think of the purpose. You know, Hodor, he's there just to drag Bran. You know, they need a big guy. Whatever, but like for story-wise, like it's actually just very easy. Like you can't be lazy with it if he's going to be on screen, kind of. You know, you have to. I guess it's not like he does anything Oscar-worthy. You know, I'm not trying to be like, oh yeah, without Hodor, the show would absolutely just be terrible.
It would crumble. It would cave in on itself.
Actually, it would. You know, it wouldn't exist without Hodor probably, but
that's true.
But I don't know. Just I think it was I keep like a running counter. Like literally while I'm watching the show, I kept like my hand just at 2 every time like we'd be like Bran or was on screen just to be like, all right, I'm at 2, and I keep like I love the Hodor counter. It gives me like a little activity to do on episodes.
Yeah,
but yeah.
No, fuck yeah, but. Yeah, Osha says they have enough problems without dark dreams, and Bran, Rickon, Osha, Hodor, and the Dire Wolves continue to head north from Winterfell to the Wall. So you got the Night's Watchmen going south to the Wall, you got Bran heading north to the Wall, and they will not meet in the middle. But later on, the same boy from the dream approaches their camp in the woods unarmed. And, you know, I loved seeing Summer and Osha being like at the ready before that, like and then Osha not saying a word and just kind of like scampering off into the woods like a fucking feral creature was very funny.
Bran's like, yo, what's going on? Like, what's going on? Is anything out there? Like, Osha, talk to me. Like, you know, I guess she knows like Summer's there and he can go in, you know, sort of thing. And I guess she has to stay quiet and be stealthy. Like, she could have just been like, stay quiet, little lord. Or, I don't know, something, you know. But I don't know.
Osha's the shit,
I love
man.
This like little back and forth that they had here, like the upper hand, having the upper hand, like on the situation. Like, I love I'm just terrible with names is the thing. Like that's the thing. I guess I just need to have like the wiki pulled up so I can just have these characters' names in front of me.
The characters that approach here are Jojen, the young boy, Jojen Reed, and Mira.
Jojen
Reed.
and Mira. Jojen and Mira. But yeah, Jojen. It just reminds me of someone that went to our high school. For some reason, it's the only guy I can see. Probably not. I don't know why. Nick. I don't know. It's weird to say people's last names, like to just
maybe hit the Snapchat or the Discord chat real quick.
But like it's like the only thing I can see for some reason. But anyways, like I love how he's just he's pulling up. All confident, like and he's like, I don't carry the weapons as OSHA has a spear against his neck, and then
my sister does that for me.
Yeah, like I love just the OSHA was so confident, like
it's that fucking meme where the dude's getting a gun pointed at the back of his head, and he's getting a gun pointed at the back of his head, and that person's getting a sniper pointed at them. Like it's like all that's happening here.
What Mira doesn't know is that she thinks she has the upper hand on OSHA, and then Jojen has the upper hand on Summer as well. But Bran could actually be Warden Hodor right now.
Yeah.
Morgan Hodor, and behind with like I don't know something at the that's what I wanted. Something else.
Giant hands
was one more layer, like another one, like to go up even more.
Right.
I don't know. This is like it was because this group sticks together for like
a while.
Wow, right?
At least
till hold the door.
Till they hold the door, because that's the episode when Jojen dies.
So like maybe they split up a little bit before then. I think it might just be all in that episode.
OSHA and Rickon eventually split off.
That's true.
Before that, they're not there for hold the door.
What's up with Rickon? There was something. Rickon woke up right when Bran woke up, and they woke up looking at each other. Like I feel like they actually wanted to do something with Rickon, but man, the child actor just couldn't do much, so they were like, well, whatever. Because like when Bran wakes up from his whatever, it goes right to Rickon. Rickon wakes up at the same time, and they look at each other, and then like Hodor comes up. And
I see. I simply took that as Bran screams when he wakes up.
Oh, he did. It was just Rickon actually being like, oh, fuck, what?
Yeah.
That's way better. That's way better.
Well, because like not only because they mirror it very easily could have been taken as just the Raven squawking into him waking up, but I'm pretty sure they overlaid the Raven squawking with Bran yelling as he woke up, so it was kind of like they are one sort of shit.
Okay. I see, but yeah, I don't know. But I don't know. Before, like even in earlier like episodes, they've had this.
Oh yeah, there's been this weird thing about.
Like I don't know. Maybe he's just meant to get shot down by Ramsay. Maybe that's just his destiny. That had to happen so Jon would see it and give him the strength to carry through the Battle of the Bastards. Maybe that's Rickon's destiny. And I don't know. I guess I'm cool with that because I don't really care about him, anyways. I wish I didn't have to say that, but it's like they don't do much in the show to really. Make you care about
if there's any Stark child, you're like, man, it's him. Or like, damn. Like like you're just not gonna like if Sansa is the one running on the fucking battlefield and then she catches an arrow through her back. I'm devastated. That fucks me up like for a very long time. Rickon, it's like, no. Okay.
Oh no. Okay, now I can move on. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's just I definitely didn't cry when Rickon died.
At that point in the show, he's like already dead. Like when does that? That's Battle of the Bastards? That's like,
the Battle of the Bastards. That's the end of season 6.
Yeah. So like at that point in the show, he's already pretty much dead. Rickon at that point. Anyways.
Dead, gone, and buried in my mind.
So, but man.
Nevertheless, they all agree to get on the move together, and Jojen and Bran discuss his little wolf dreams, and Jojen explains that Bran himself is a warg. And Jojen says that it starts out as vivid dreams, seeing the world through his wolf's eyes, but with practice he will be able to consciously enter the mind of his wolf and control its actions. And Bran's like, so do you, just curious, can you see the future in your dreams? Is that a thing that you can do? And Jojen's like, I mean, that's a little different ability. That's called the sight. It allows those who possess it to see events that haven't happened yet, or events that happened long before they were born, or events happening now but thousands of miles away. And Jojen confirms that Bran's dream of his father, Ned, the day he died was an example of the sight, and that Jojen himself had a similar dream the same day. He says that, when he told his father, it was the only time he'd ever seen his dad cry.
What did he mean by that? When he, I was just a little confused. When he told, or when because he said, when I told my father, or what did Jojen say?
Yeah, when I told my father that your father had died.
So Jojen had a dream.
I take it that Jojen knows and trusts his sight a lot more than Bran does. So he had that dream and went, oh, Ned Stark's dead.
Oh, and then he woke up and then actually told his father in real life.
Yeah.
Not in...
Yeah.
Oh, okay, this make that clear. I thought that his father was in the dream.
Oh, no. He woke up, he came out of the vision and told his dad.
Okay. This clears it up so much more, because I'm like, wait a minute, you're telling, how the fuck did you in a dream tell your dad that Ned Stark died? And I'm like, why would you say it in and I was so lost, and I don't know. Okay,
well, and the way that goes, it implies that Howland Reed also knew that his son had the sight, to believe him.
Oh yeah,
okay. I had a dream, and Ned Stark's dead, and Howland Reed's going to be like, oh shit, yeah, he is. I'm going to cry about this. That's
okay.
That's a cool little aspect that, I wonder how this could have, the sight in Bran could have been handled differently if Ned or Catelyn knew about it and if they helped him with it and stuff, or they told him it was okay and they knew what it was or something. It's interesting that Howland Reed would be like, oh yeah, no, that definitely means Ned's dead.
Because Osha, she hates the three-eyed raven, and she, this is black magic. Is it just the three-eyed raven, or is it also warging and the sight and stuff that's black magic?
I think it's just the three-eyed raven. I think that there's because all the things that we are concerned about at any given point, where we go, oh, could Bran be doing this? That's what she's thinking. And
You're
she's
right.
like, it's really fucked up if he is.
Okay. That's true. Because I had the thought, is Jojen Bran?
Yeah, right.
Is this Bran giving the sight, giving whatever to Jojen? Jojen, whatever. But, is Bran making Jojen basically give him the lessons he needs to become the three-eyed,
right.
Sort of thing. And it's what the... Every time I start to think of it, I'm just I'm just going to let the show run.
Yeah.
Time travel...
Because you can go deep like that, but you can also just take it at face value, and it's just fine.
Yeah. And we won't get the explanation, I won't know until the explanation is given, and we won't get that explanation.
Yeah, exactly.
It's never going to be explained.
Oh.
But I don't know, I love, this is the part of the show, on rewatch, that I'm just going to be really excited for. Not necessarily theorizing or thinking of whatever, but just picking up on the little extra details that I might have missed last time and been like, oh, that's really cool if it is this way,
Right.
So I'm not going, down some Ultron or lines or anything like that, but I don't know, these scenes are...
It's fun.
Yeah, really, really fun. And I just add to the fantasy of the show, and...
No, yeah, Bran is the only aspect of that show that I think you can really get that out of. I know we get a little bit out of it from Daenerys as far as the theorization of it all goes, but now all the theories about Daenerys are kind of those are kind of set in stone. We know we know what happens with Daenerys, like but Bran, there's still so much mystery around him, even though we've seen the way the show goes. So it's like, there's a lot to do there. And, what we're about to miss out on is like a full fucking season of Bran not being there. He's not in season 4.
At one episode?
Never in season 4.
Is that why he comes back just looking way older?
Yeah, and this season was the first little jump.
He's hitting it right now.
Yeah. Whenever he starts talking to Jojen, I was like, oh,
you're getting old.
The voice has dropped a little bit, not a ton, but just a little bit. And he's definitely maturing in his face and stuff. And then they're like, wow, you grew up way too much between seasons. Sit the fuck out for a whole season. We'll bring you back in season 5 to justify such an age jump.
And I thought that Bran's, when he comes back and he talks all Three-Eyed Raven, because it's not Bran when he talks really anymore. Bran talked a different way. The Three-Eyed Raven has his voice, like when he's very like dull and whatever. But that's how Jojen speaks whenever he's speaking to Bran about that sort of thing. And that's the only reason I'm like, maybe Bran is like trying to usher
imparting,
a little bit, because like Jojen sounded like Bran. Like that's what I was looking away from the screen and I'm like, wait a minute, that's not that, like, this isn't season whatever,
right,
when Bran's the Three-Eyed Raven. I'm like, oh, that's Jojen talking. I'm like, well, that was kind of weird. So I don't know if maybe Bran was, maybe that's where he got the inspiration to take the voice from, sort of thing. Like, just the real world actor sort of thing.
Old Dr. Manhattan head ass.
I don't know. I just was actually, like, while watching, looking away, and I'm like, what the I was just taken back.
Jarred.
But,
yeah, no, I get you. But yeah, Jojen confirms that Bran wasn't simply experiencing a vision of Jojen in his earlier dream, but that he literally reached out and made contact with his mind. And that he also saw the Three-Eyed Raven and stuff. So he's like, yeah, that wasn't just a dream. Like, I was there. I told you what was happening. Like, that happened. I was there.
Like a dream date?
Mm-hmm. Inception type shit.
Did Jojen, he contacted Bran, or this was just like a...
Yes, Jojen
on purpose.
He literally reached out with his mind to contact Bran.
This is some Jedi shit right here.
It is. But all the while in the background, we get one of the more fun interactions of the episode between Mira and Osha. And because I just love the way that this is building a trust between Mira and Osha, because she has to be comfortable eventually leaving Bran with them. Like, this is something that she eventually is like, yeah, I can do that confidently and it'll be okay. Like, that's pretty cool. And this little interaction here where she's like, does your brother ever feel shitty about himself for having you protect him all the time? And she's like, no, why would that be fucking weird? And he's like, well, because a dude who needs his sister to protect him is going to find himself needing a lot of protecting. And then Mira said, my favorite line of the episode, some people will always need help. That doesn't mean they're not worth helping.
Yeah, I heard that one. And I'm like, oh, I heard the Lord's Commander's line, but this is the true line of the episode here. Like, it was just a beautiful moment. You see, as she's saying it, Bran's, Hodor is dragging Bran. Yeah. And it's like, well, look what you're doing here.
It was a wonderful piece of camera work, man. The way they like it, because she says it, she's like, she says the first sentence about like, some people will always need help, and then it pans back and it shows the two of them, Osha and Mira, walking behind Jojen, Bran, and Hodor, but that doesn't mean they're not worth helping. And I'm like, you got this little group here that's like homies and stuff. I love it.
My God. Like, that's we talked about this off mic, but I've been taking screenshots of every time we've had a new Mando episode. I've been taking some screenshots of the episode. And my mindset of there is, when I'm watching the episode, if it looks beautiful, I'll just hit the button because it looks good. Or if it just frames the characters that we know very well, or they're looking at each other, I don't know, something like that, where it's like the characters on screen framed well. That's when I take a screenshot. And for an average Mando episode, I don't know, it's maybe 20, 30, possibly 40 screenshots, I would say, per episode.
Gotcha.
I started it for this episode, and I'm like, I'm going to start doing it for the Thrones rewatch. Because I like taking shots. I mean, first 5-10 minutes, that, like, it is getting full. It's like, oh my god, I have taken so many screenshots already. Like, it just makes sense. Like, they are setting up the camera. They are shooting on location most of the time in Game of Thrones. They like spend the money to make these sets. That, like, every time they set up a camera, they have to set up rails and camera crew. So much went into just getting the camera in that position that they really had to think about it. And they're like, let's make sure we're doing this right. And they do. But in Mando, they're in the volume and they can change any of that on the fly, or, they're on Blues or wherever. So they're not really thinking about that as much. And it's insane how much just more beautiful this show is than just an average show that comes out like today on Disney Plus. Like, I'm not saying Mando's a shitty looking show. I take a lot of screenshots of it. It's just that every shot in this show is purposeful.
That good.
Like, it is purposeful, and it is
very thoughtful.
Yeah, I have to restrict my screenshotting rules, I guess, if I don't want to fill my computer up with basically every frame of Game of Thrones.
Right.
Is what I'm trying to get to, but I don't know, I stopped doing it about 10 minutes in because it was just getting to the point where it was
as much as the Mando stuff.
Yeah, so
it's funny.
But
no, it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous episode. It's a great looking one, and it only gets it's visually good looking, but a bit horrific to watch. We are next at the Dreadfort.
Eesh.
What we don't know yet is the Dreadfort, but we know now is the Dreadfort. Theon Greyjoy has been chained up in a dungeon after being knocked out before the sack of Winterfell, and men come in, some wearing Ironborn clothing, and interrogate him. And when he asks what they want, one of his captors says he wants to do this, and starts prying his fingernails off with a knife. Later, they use a foot press to torture him, while also slowly turning a screw into his foot until it's bleeding freely.
Nope.
Repeatedly asking him why he captured Winterfell, but apparently not caring about the answer he gives. This is just torture. There's no interrogation going on. There's nothing happening. And I love that Ramsay is such a sick fuck.
I did not remember that he did this at all. Yes, but
super fucking funny. God. Super funny. But the fact that he is such a sadist, so sick and fucked up that he can't stand to not be in the room while this happens. Like, he's gotta act like he's mopping, he's gotta act like he's cleaning shit. He's like, cause I just want to hear this man scream. What a fucking weirdo. You got nothing better to do than act like you're a servant. Like,
that's, I guess, cause I don't really remember the start. I didn't remember him as like a servant at first. I just remember him as full on Ramsay sort of thing when it went in my head. So I was like, man, he's in the background right now, and I'm like, okay, and I'm like, oh wait, he's just watching. He wants to watch right now, and like he's actually getting a kick out of it, and then like he waits for everyone to leave, and that's when he makes his move, sort of thing, because he can't do it in front of everyone else. No, but once everyone leaves, he can do his stuff, and I'm like,
this man is just coming up with fun ways to torture people. Like that
is so cruel. What, like,
so fucked up
to give Theon like just a glimmer of hope. It's like Theon has been through. I gotta assume Ramsay, like, this is what he does, because he knows he can't be in there for a long time. He knows he has to leave and come back, whatever. So at first he's gonna give him a glimmer of hope, and then absolutely come back to destroy it. Whenever it reveals.
Because he, a servant boy, he walks over to Theon, unwinds the foot press, and tells him, I've been sent by Yara, And he's like, yeah, okay, get me out of here. And he's like, I must wait until nightfall when the castle sleeps. So you're going to go back under the bag, and I'm going to go ahead and come back later, okay? Bye, buddy. And Dion's like, no, please don't go. Yeah, last night I watched this while Emily was doing some coloring. She has a nice little coloring book that we like to chip away at. And I had to mute it. Like whenever it went to this part, I had to. She was like,
"I just a lot of streams."
Yeah, I cannot listen to this. Would you mind turning it down?
Torture
and I was
streams.
like, no doubt, for sure. Cool.
I guess good on Theon. What's? I feel like I might
Alfie Allen.
Alfie Allen. Yeah, good on Alfie Allen here.
You did a good job.
But yeah, I guess it's just scream. Yeah, you literally just scream at the top of your lungs. You don't just if you're in the worst pain imaginable, scream as loud as you possibly can. I guess that's probably the direction. So not that complicated, but
it's hard to pull off convincingly. You know, like you gotta really give yourself over to that.
Behind it. Yeah, anyone can scream loud, but to actually have like the fear and the
actual pain, it'd be not shocking to me if in 10 years there's a documentary made where Alfie Allen is pressing charges against HBO for the way they treated him on set during season 3 of Game of Thrones, because it's that convincing. It's that convincing that this guy's being tortured. I have no doubt they didn't actually do that. By the way, just being over exaggeratory there, but like that's how good they are at faking this. Like it seems like, oh, this guy's fingernails are getting cut off. Oh, he has a fucking screw through his foot. Yeah, the fingernail stuff, that fucks me up. I can't do that. That's bad.
They closed in on it too. They closed in on it and showed you, and it's just, oh yeah, no. I was eating Chex Mix while I was watching the episode, and then I saw Theon, and I went, nope.
It's away for now.
Nope, not eating now. I went like, okay, not with these people.
Yeah, man, they're brutal to Theon, but that's all we get at the Dreadfort. It's a few scenes, but it's basically just torture. And after that, we head to King's Landing, where King Joffrey is being fitted for new clothes in his chamber in preparation for his upcoming wedding with Marjorie Tyrell, and his mother Cersei is like, "Oh, you don't like that one? You should give it to Marjorie for her wedding dress. It's not much fabric, but that shouldn't be a problem for her."
Yeah, that was, I don't know. She gets her jabs in.
Yeah. I almost went Lena Headey once again for performance, just because she is so fucking good at being this. Like, it's not like it's anything. She's not far reaching, it's not like she's like, she has to dig deep into the bag, but she is so fucking good at playing this character. Like whenever she sits there, when Joffrey turns around and is like, basically like, shut the fuck up. Like, I don't, that's what women do best, is what they're told, and the way she like sits there with not looking at him, but like her eyebrows raised and her mouth kind of like twitching upward, like, I could fuck you up right now. Oh, buddy.
Yeah, that's what she does perfectly. You know her, like, without like many words, that she doesn't have to speak at all, but that she's trying to like manipulate Joffrey a little bit, and she's trying to get her game in there a little bit at the same time as like, just saying what she wants to say. She hates Marjorie right now a little, and I don't know. Like, I'd say she would agree with the marriage for the alliance. Is Cersei okay with the alliance? Does she just hate Marjorie as like what does she actually hate about Marjorie?
She hates the idea that someone will manipulate her son that isn't her.
That's way better.
Yeah, she's concerned that the Tyrells will use Joffrey to benefit them and not the Lannisters.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so much more clear, because I was trying to think like I guess, is she jealous, of, I guess maybe that's what it was. There's a
degree of that, she's still young and doesn't have children, and
yeah, I guess not jealous of just the looks or whatever. I was jealous of like maybe the hold that Marjorie would have over Joffrey. I just didn't quite get that
because
far
it's a hold that Cersei's never had. She didn't have that over Robert. She doesn't have it now over Joffrey. Like she's like, she's never had what Marjorie has, or what she has the potential to do. Not until, she becomes queen herself.
But man, Joffrey, like, really, if you're not on the full hate bandwagon by now, like,
if you're not on the full hate bandwagon by now, you might be a sick fuck.
Yeah, and this just like really shows that he's like the lines that he says of like women blah blah blah, or this is why women blah blah blah. It's like you can tell that he's like trying to be his father. He's like, this is what I know a good father to be, good in Joffrey's eyes. Like this is what my dad told my mom, so I have to like say these things. I have to get good at saying these quippy fuck women jokes, sort of thing. And like it's just so sad that like even the ones that he comes up, like they're not even that good. Like it's like Cersei is just like, oh well, all right, there it is again. Like, well, yep. There's Rob. He's coming up again. There's my little boy. Whatever. It's nothing. Like you're not doing anything. You're just. I don't know. He gets my blood to boil. It's
sick.
Like at just the sight. It's so. I feel bad for the guy in real life.
This was actually the first, and not to say that the actor hasn't been good. He's clearly been very good at his job. He does a very good job of playing a sick little fuck in Joffrey Baratheon. But Jack Gleeson, this was the first time watching this time around that I went, this is actually a pretty like impressive little performance, because he's not being over the top like, I'm the king, you must listen to me. Oh, I'm a little bitch. Why? He is very subtle about his choices in this one. Like the way he is affirmed in his own eyes that he is the king. He gets to do what he wants, and he's not going to let anyone tell him otherwise. And he looks at Cersei, and he's like, the way that he tells the guy, like, go get none of these. These all fucking suck. Get the fuck out of here. Get me more.
Flowers on the king? Yeah, right. Get out of here. Bring me something.
I was really impressed. I was like, this guy's pretty fucking good at what he does.
Even the, like Cersei coming up, like trying to talk to him, like, no, like you need to focus. We need to do this, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I don't need to do anything. Like, I remember, like, whenever that line was, it's a bitch, I hate him for it, but it's like, he does play it really. Like, this scene was his best, probably, of the season so far.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Like, he actually had to not just be a little bitch boy the whole time. He had to actually give something. But man, I wonder how much like hate this dude got in real life. Jack Gleeson? That's kind of nuts.
Yeah, Jack Gleeson.
That's like a old music. Jackie Gleason, I guess, is a like old musician.
And there's a couple actors in Hollywood who I was like, oh, is he related to them at all? Because Brandon Gleeson was in the Banshees of Inisherin and all sorts of other roles, but most recently the Banshees of Inisherin, and Domhnall Gleeson, who was General Hux.
No shit.
That guy is Domhnall Gleeson is Brandon Gleeson's son, and I was trying to see if Jack Gleeson was in any way related to either of them, and maybe he is, but not in a brotherly and son sense. Maybe a cousin. I don't know. Didn't look that deep into it.
I knew a Jackie Gleason from this dude was born in 1916, so maybe I know the grandpa, possibly.
A possibility.
But yeah, there's a Jackie. Like maybe this Joffrey is the grandson to maybe the Gleason I know, because Jack as well. He was like that's
a couple of Jack Gleasons. That doesn't happen every day.
But I won't get the performance nod for the episode. But
not quite.
Yeah, good on him though.
He did good, and we haven't shined enough light on him. I don't think. Like he's a very talented actor.
Give him his flowers because he would hate it. So I'm fine with giving him.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, that's a bar. Yeah, no, he does a really good job as Joffrey. He really makes me fucking hate his guts. So good on you, Jack. You did good here. But next up, we see Shay dressing Sansa Stark in her chambers and warns Sansa about Littlefinger, and she points out that Baelish has offered to help Sansa for nothing in return, which probably means that he's after something. And Sansa's like, "Oh, he just loved my mother." And Shay's like, "Yeah, well, I think he wants to fuck you, so be careful."
Yeah.
And Sansa's like, "No, that wouldn't happen.
He's
so much older than me."
Yeah, like that's not a thing, right?
And Shay's like, "Yeah, man, yeah, that sucks, doesn't it?"
That's how the world works.
That's
sadly.
rough.
Yeah, and then like I don't know. It was sad to see like the realization on her face, as it happened. It's like, oh man, because you got it. Like Sansa is,
and it was so like naive and sweet too, because she says like Shay says to Sansa, like, men usually only want one thing from pretty young ladies, and she's like, that wouldn't happen. He doesn't love me. He doesn't have to, honey. Sorry.
Sansa, look at what happened to you, like when your father got, like that wasn't love. What was about to happen to you? That was not love. Not even
love.
Close. Like what do you? I guess
nah.
I don't know.
She's just sweet.
Right
she's not. She's just
too
young.
innocent.
She's just young at this point.
It's just sad. Yeah, it is sad.
It is. It is. But at this point, Sir Loras Tyrell arrives at the door and escorts Sansa to the gardens to meet with Marjorie and their grandmother. And this is where we meet Lady Olenna Tyrell, who deservedly gets my favorite character of the episode.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I was trying to spread the love, and I'm like, who else could I give it to? But like, there's not a character that dominates this episode other than her. Like
there is not a single other character introduction in the show so far that is as good as Olenna Tyrell's, I don't think. Like as I was watching this, I was like, holy shit. She just immediately gets in there and just chews the scenery up. Like Diana Rigg dominates this. I almost picked her for my performance as well.
Oh yeah. And I think I was trying to think of like I named some people or characters that were like a real world person kind of just plopped in Game of Thrones. I'm like Bronn, Bronn's
Osha.
kind of, and then I think I said maybe
Osha,
and then Davos maybe. I think was like the three I mentioned. But there's no clear, like this is actually a person kind of from today. Like she is very.
She's blunt. She doesn't observe any niceties.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, this is not a person that lives... Well, I guess these people existed during that time. You just didn't hear about them because the history books were written by men. The wars were fought... everything was just done by men. So, like, you just didn't hear of, the women during this time, I guess. But, like, this is just the most real-world moral character that we have. Like let's have, I don't know, I can actually get behind the Tyrells.
Oh, I fucking love Lady Olenna Tyrell, man.
And
she
I guess
is absolutely incredible.
Before we jump into her real quick, I just want to clarify something with Loras real quick.
Yeah.
So he's escorting Sansa there. Was it just to make her feel good? Like to be escorted by Loras? Because like he walked away so fast. For one, Sansa was like, I don't know if you remember the first time we met, but you
he's like, oh honey,
gave me your whatever,
sweetie,
like, you gave me a rose.
Oh honey,
he's like, oh yeah, I did. And then like I was like, oh, it was just like it hit a little harder every time, and I'm like, oh man, he's just there to make her feel good. And, like, because
100%.
He is that dude. He's one of like the most decorated swordsman there is,
and he's beautiful. That's a beautiful man.
Yeah, and so like it makes sense that Sansa would be like, wait,
head over heels. He walks away, and she like watches him walk away. Marjorie has to like pull her to like, that's what's funny too.
Yeah, it's throwaway stuff. Like it doesn't like the Loras, whatever. Like I don't really care about that, but it just shows how good the Tyrells are of their like this is their
manipulating.
Game. This is their game. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, they wanted to make her comfortable. They figured, let's send the boy who she is almost certainly in love with.
Has to be.
He's Loris Tyrell, you know. But I love that he's like him giving her his rose was like nothing because
he did that so much. Every time you win a joust or a tournament, anytime you win at all, you give your blessing or like what is it called?
Your favor.
Favor. Yeah, it's like anytime you win, right? Or is it before you go?
I think it's before. It's before the tournament starts. Like you choose someone to do this for.
Yeah,
but also it doesn't matter who he gives it to. He has to give it to a woman in the public eye. He's not attracted to women. It doesn't matter to him.
Oh, yeah, that's why he threw it off as like.
Yeah, that's why he's like, oh yeah, I did do that. Like whenever she's like, do you remember? He's like, oh honey, oh sweetie.
Oh my god, I'm so blind. For some reason, I'm just like, he has just done this so many times that
and I'm sure he has.
But it's definitely 100%. He doesn't give a fuck who he gives the flower to in the first place. He's like, well, damn, I have to. All right, well, let me pick some girl out here. Like, all right, well, sure, there you go. Like, that's probably the thought process that goes into it every time he does. It's like, oh man, I am blind this episode.
Right? He's just like, he's like, oh man, I don't know. Sure, that happened, I guess, but the love of my life got killed by a shadow beast, so I'm kind of fucked right now. But nevertheless, after this, Lady Olenna presents herself to Sansa. Well, Marjorie presents Lady Olenna to Sansa, and very quickly do we realize that Olenna is very intelligent, very cunning, and not afraid to speak her mind. As she bluntly says that her son Mace was a fool for supporting Renly Baratheon's claim to the throne. It didn't make any sense. There were two people who had a better claim than him, and he thought that because he had a pretty smile and could do things differently, that it made him deserving to be king. He's a fucking idiot, and now he's dead.
About how for the first 2 seasons, that's all we've been. That's what the show was, and she explained it in less than 30 seconds in the most basic terms, and she understood like clear. Like I was like, oh my god, like. I've been thinking of this as like the most complex interworking of, all these armies fighting and like, oh, it's all these different philosophies going up against each other. And then she's like, well, yeah, honestly, this is all just stupid from the start. We shouldn't have even got involved. And it's like, oh, well, yeah, you're actually right. Like, you're 100% right. It's just because the line I almost went with was like, well, now that the cream's out of, you can't really shove the cream back up into the udder of the cow, however she said it.
Yeah.
But she's
it kind of defines the way she handles everything, because she's the playmaker in the Tyrell family, She doesn't get to make the final decisions, which is why they're here in the first place. But once they get dealt whatever hand they get dealt because Mace Tyrell decided to do something, she gets to clean up the mess. She gets to figure the way out of it.
She gets to say, I told you so, now let me help you through this and hopefully out of it.
Exactly.
She's such a badass. Yeah, she's just...
I love it too, because this is one of those scenes earlier that I said like kind of got me to tear up earlier, because it was just like fucking finally. Whenever they tell Sansa, like, sit down, like, let's talk about it. Tell us about Joffrey, and the way that she, like, looks around and, like, tears start welling in her eyes, and she's like, he is a great king. He's a very brave lion. And Marjorie's like, look at her. She's fucking horrified. And Marjorie and Lady Olenna's like, it's okay. You can tell us. Like, we're not going to do anything. We got you. You're okay. And she
all
warns.
women around here. The only men that were in there, the servants.
Yep.
That whole scene. I was, because I was thinking about I think it was maybe not. I don't know if I was taking screenshots of this. Probably not at this point. But it was just so like whenever before they walked into the little place where they had their sit down chat, and it was like in that courtyard first. And it was just all the people talking, like all the women, just like it was like wow, like just was such a happy moment in the show. Like seeing people just sitting down and, I don't know, actually, like they're, I don't know, very high up in exploiting the wealth and everything, that I can pick into the wrongs that they're doing, whatever.
Oh yeah, but no, like
it's I don't know. It was nice just to see
normal people having a normal time, you know.
Yeah, and just I don't know, the flowers everywhere. You know, after Joffrey just gets done, Scott, being like, "Oh, what the fuck," and then just seeing just green everywhere and people just eating. Just I don't know. It was. They set her up so
wonderfully,
so wonderful, and like the lemon squares bringing them in. Yeah, I don't know, like every little.
They will be served after the cakes, madam. No, they won't. I will decide when they get served. You better bring that shit to me.
What did you just say to me? Like, I was like, hello? Do you know?
Dude, I loved it. I loved this scene. It actually, I was debating which way to split everything up and what scene I should give, what performance I should give, what character I should give. And I ended up settling on character Olenna, performance Sophie Turner as Sansa, because she did so fucking good in this episode, and this scene specifically is what earned her that nod from.
Yeah, no, she definitely deserves it here. I'm glad. You were right at the beginning of this episode saying it's hard to pick favorites now because there are so many good things that are happening now, so many good performances, so many characters that are getting like the light that they need, and like seeing, I'm like, holy shit, like how, I don't know, it was tough to pick favorites here, but I guess the only one of mine so far is character. It was without a doubt Olenna Tart, like Olenna,
yeah,
Olenna. I'm getting this season. It's like names. Once I get them in the rewatch, and they've been in for like 2 episodes, they're like down now.
Right.
Which is good. At least I don't know. It's very in my front brain right now, so I guess that makes sense. But I don't know. She took this episode by storm. Like there was no one else that was going to get the character nod, other than her. But yeah, I saved my performance and scene more for just to spread the love a little more for the episode. But I don't know, this Sophie Turner or who's the actor for, let's see, who plays Olenna?
Olenna?
Diana Rigg.
Diana Rigg.
Yeah, Diana Rigg.
Yeah, just passed a few years back.
Oh man, but yeah, like could have gotten the performance nod. Sophie Turner, definitely she did for you, which I'm glad that she's getting.
Yeah, she was just fantastic.
Yeah, so the show is like they are hitting their stride, or they're coming in with a vengeance. So yeah, but I don't know. I feel like a lot of times what's going to happen, I feel like, is your scene will probably be like my performance, and my performance will be, I feel like that's going to happen. I don't know sometimes, but we'll I guess we'll get there eventually. I don't want to.
Nah, yeah, we will. No, it's just damn good, man. It's just really fucking good. And I've really enjoyed, I really enjoyed this scene specifically. Sansa was fucking incredible. And I had a tough time not giving it my scene, but I think I'm happy with where I ended up taking it later on. But yeah, the way that she breaks down and is like, Joffrey did that. He showed me my father's head on a spike and made me look. He said that was mercy, and then she's like, I didn't. I shouldn't have said that. I said too much. I'm sorry.
And His Grace, like I started stuttering it all, like oh my god, and like you already said, like why, like it's so sad, like you're trying to backpedal still, and it's like no, like Sansa just, it's okay, just
yeah. Well, and then she's like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said anything. Please don't cancel the wedding. Like, do not cancel the wedding, because then I'm fucked again. Please don't do it. Please.
That was sad. Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, don't worry. Yeah. Her dad's a bit too much of an asshole. And I love the way that Marjorie and Olenna handle this situation too. Like the fact that they're like, yeah, well, that confirms everything we suspected.
They're like, yeah, we knew all this pretty much coming in. The wedding's still on because we want the power. We don't give a fuck about Joffrey.
Oh yeah, Mace is intent on making Marjorie queen, and I just love the way that they're both like confident they can handle the situation because Marjorie she takes after her grandma big time.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is
pretty incredible
Tywin
casting
Cersei.
too in Natalie Dormer and Diana Rigg, because if you look at like Diana Rigg was a movie star for years, like 50s, 60s, 70s, like she was a big deal back in the day. She looks a lot like Natalie Dormer. Like it's kind of jarring how much she does.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's incredible casting, but
yeah, the show has a way of doing that though.
Oh yeah, they're really good. They're really good at it. They're really good at it. But next up, that brings us to Shay, who has snuck into Tyrion Lannister's new chambers, and he warns that his father, would like nothing more but to kill her, and she needs to steer clear because this just can't keep happening, man. You gotta be careful around here. And undeterred, Shay starts undressing Tyrion and is like, "Oh, am I still cruel? Am I cruel?" I was like, "Yo," it was like super hot. whenever she like grabbed his face, it was like, "Oh, Shay's so cruel. Oh, Shay's so terrible." I was like, "Yo, that's wow." But then they keep going, and she's like, "Oh, am I still cruel?" And he's like, "Only if you stop." I was like, I was close to picking that as my favorite line because I was like, "Yeah, for real. Yeah, for real."
I don't know what to think of like this, because they were just going back and forth so much here, and they're like, it seemed that they were mad, but then they were not, and then they were, it was just kind of going back and forth.
It's not healthy.
I think that's the whole point of it, is just like, that's just relationship. That's just how it go. I don't know, like the line, I don't know. He was like, whenever Roz was brought up, yeah, it's like, you fucked her. And then he was like, no, no, I didn't. He's like,
once.
I want, no, okay, all right, whatever. He's like, but now I only have eyes for you. But then he had to get in that one last jab of like, I don't know. He had like a last jab after he, trying to make it back up. And, but now, obviously you're the one I want, because, or else it would be her here torturing me or something like that, is what he said. So I was like, oh no, it was cute, but then it was like, oh no, don't say that. And then it was like, oh, back to cute. Like,
yeah, it's real back and forth. They have a weird thing going on, and he's like, I love the way that she's like, yeah, Littlefinger's friend told me. He's like, Littlefinger doesn't have friends, and then she's like, the redhead, oh, Roz, and she's like, yeah, huh.
Roz? Wait, how
curious?
You so fast? Oh yeah, I have to know everyone. That's my thing, babe. I need to know everyone. I know things. I'm Tyrion Lannister. But yeah, that's. I don't know. They're cute. For now, it's just it is just the weird taste in my mouth, just knowing where it goes. Like that's the only thing is.
No, I get that.
Like I don't know. I'll like it for now. It's a rewatch. I know what's gonna happen. I'll be happy while I have it. So, moving forward, I'm maybe not gonna look into their stuff as closely. I'll just let them be happy for right now.
Sorry, my mom is texting me about something she'll be needing from me today, so we might have to fuck with some of the scheduling today. Nevertheless, no, yeah, that was a great scene, and like Peter Dinklage continues to bring it. Just an incredible, another guy who just has the character down. Like, because I think that's the only scene with Tyrion this episode, right? And that's it.
So. Yeah.
Like that was real good. There's also this really sad shot framing that mirrors something later on when Tyrion enters the room and Shay like turns over on the bed and goes, "My lion,"
It's
Ooh.
exactly the framing of whenever she tries to say that to his dad later on.
Ooh. Ooh. No.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. But
And see, that's why the bad taste. That's maybe why.
yeah,
Maybe
it 100% is.
Yeah.
It always makes me annoyed. Yeah.
Terry makes it out though. He makes it all the way through.
Yeah. Everything will be fine. But nevertheless, we push forth with Marjorie being summoned to Joffrey's chambers to see if she needs anything before he leaves on a hunting trip. And while Joffrey has previously been easy for Marjorie to manipulate, Cersei was apparently able to plant a little bit of doubt in his mind, and the fact that Marjorie was married to his uncle Renly and thus already had sex with another man who Cersei described as a traitor and known degenerate. And when questioned, Marjorie was like, "I only did what I was told to do." And he's like, "Yeah, that's what I like." I
don't know, because Marjorie, she plays her game very well, but I don't think she expected it to go like this off the bat.
No.
Like, because she was very taken off guard. She was like, "Oh wait," because Joffrey's like, "Well, you failed him. How did you fail to bring heirs if that was your only job? Why are you?"
That's what makes Joffrey an interesting character to try and manipulate, because the way she learns on the spot.
Yes,
here, it was very hard. I almost went with Marjorie again for my character because she was so damn good here. Because it's not just sex that's going to manipulate Joffrey, because he's too sick for that.
The fantasy that she's built, she is building this fantasy of her in him, every step of the way.
Do you think I could kill?
Yeah, would you like to see me? And every time Joffrey would have a snark or a comeback or something to Sansa would either just take it and be like, "Yeah, you're right, your grace, what, and play it off." But Marjorie is like, "Oh, no, you're right. I am wrong. And I do see it clearly now. You're right."
She's
and it's
fucking
oh my
brilliant at the game, dude. And the way that this would go down in sort of the seduction, she'd put the hand on the thigh and kind of run up like that, but she puts her hand on the fucking crossbow, and it's like, that's a fucking brilliant choice, to go that's basic. He is flaunting that as though it is his penis. That is the symbol of his masculinity, is this crossbow, that's what she needs to get in with him. And that's when he starts being interested, is whenever she does put her hand on the crossbow and kind of rub the string and stuff. He's like, "Oh man, that's interesting.
Show me how it works?" And he's like,
"Oh, fuck yeah. Let's do this shit."
Yeah.
Kind of a crazy shot with it, not gonna lie.
I mean, dude was accurate from the hip. He wasn't even really
pretty impressive. That was pretty impressive. Respect. Not too much respect. Still massive amounts of disrespect. But this was cool.
Mostly still disrespect.
Mostly still just disrespect.
Yeah, I'll give you an ounce.
I will admit, you shot that crossbow straight through that hog's eyes, and that was impressive.
Was pretty badass. Marjorie had to have been like, "All right."
Oh, no, that's kind of cool. And I love the way that he, she's like, "Can I try?" And he gives it to her, and she's like, "Can you take me on a hunt?" And she knows exactly how to get in with this man, and she is so damn good at it, dude.
Oh yeah, she is in now. After them standing in the mirror, seeing, I don't know. That's in Joffrey's mind. He's like, "Where have you been my whole life?" This is
right.
Because he only wants to, the only things he's told women before is "You don't know what you're talking about. Shut up. You're wrong. I'm right." But now it's oh my god, finally someone who just understands and does what I want, in Joffrey's mind, that's what he's thinking. But Marjorie the whole time is just she has to know. while it's going on, like, damn, I'm good. Like, she has to just be saying that in the back of her mind, like, damn, I'm good. You know, like,
I'm fucking good at this.
This is going perfectly. Like, I could not, like, started a little rough, and I didn't quite expect it to go that bad initially, but man, it could not be going better.
Yeah, right. No, yeah, it was an incredible time in King's Landing. They did a great job with all those scenes, and it kind of dominated the episode for me, as far as the performances of it all is concerned, performance and character. But we're still yet to get my scene, and that's leaves us with one location left, and we are headed to the Riverlands, where Robb Stark is settling into the council chamber at Harrenhal with his wife Queen Talisa, when Roose Bolton interrupts them with a message from Ravens. 2 messages from Ravens. Each of which, he's like, which one's the good news, which one's the bad news? Bad news, buddy. There is nothing good going on right now.
Yep.
And first off, Robb, sorry. Hoster Tully has passed after a long illness at his castle of Riverrun. And he's like, fucking A. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to tell my mom about that. And secondly, Ramsay took over Winterfell, ran the Ironborn out, but by the time they got there, the Ironborn were gone, and they'd torched Winterfell. How much do we believe that the Ironborn did that before they left?
That they torched Winterfell?
Yeah. I'd be more inclined to believe that Ramsay did that.
Because is it? Because when do we see Winterfell next? Because they did. I mean, they burnt. Like, did no? Yeah. I mean, do they speak of rebuilding it? Like, is it burnt down? Like, actually,
it's not burnt to the ground or anything. No, but they set it on fire, and there's because it's a bunch of stone, they can't burn stone down. But
I thought that they were trying to refer to that as like the 2 young bodies that they burned and hoisted up for everyone to see. You
remember at the beginning in the fucking credits, the way Winterfell is like smoking. Like,
that's true.
They burnt that shit.
So
they
it
burnt
is
that shit.
Actually, okay. Now I see. How much do you think is he already conspiring? Like, is that what you're saying?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
He's for sure. And so you think like he was like, oh, no one's there, torch it? Or Ramsay made the decision on his own?
There's a distinct possibility Ramsay decided to do that on his own because he's a sadistic fuck.
I could see both. Yeah, I could actually.
But there's benefit in framing the Ironborn against them and giving the benefit of the doubt to Ramsay in this moment and the Boltons. Like there's just
splitting up forces even more.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I see now. Yeah, that's man.
He has to. Unfortunately, Robb has to tell his mom. Bran and Rickon have not been found. They could be alive. They could have escaped, and that'd be really, really cool. But the silence in the air tells us they both think that their children are dead. Moreover, there has been no word of Theon, and if he took the boys captive, the Greyjoys haven't sent any demands. And this double blow reduces Catelyn to tears. She's like, well, that's it for me. I hadn't seen my dad in years. Man, Bran and Rickon might be dead. I'm having a tough time here. This is bad for me. I'm not good. And Robb decides to leave Roose in command of Harrenhal with a detachment of Northern Army, with a detachment of the garrison, while Robb leads his main host back across the Riverlands to Riverrun. And Rickard Karstark is like, well, this is a massive waste of time. This is fucking idiotic. This is super dumb. And Robb, dude.
That's my grandpa you're talking about,
Exactly.
man. I don't know. We gotta do some. And I know he's speaking his mind, and then he even asked, "Can I speak my mind?" I know they're getting a little heated, but he tells it how it is, though. Like,
you lost the war the moment you married her.
In the Stark side, that's all of his forces. I don't agree with it, but it is true to a sense of like, if there is one decision that you can pin on Rob. You know, he probably loses anyways because of
the numbers and the odds, and there's nothing good
probably
here.
Still happens anyways. Even if he, still goes and marries the Frey daughter, like it's probably still going to happen. We've already talked about that. So it's like, is it really this marriage that killed him? Like, no, but it is what turned his own forces against him, and started to have people not believe in the cause anymore. Because that's what Rob's talking to.
Have you lost faith in the cause? He's like, I still believe in revenge. Yeah, I feel like we've shifted focus from that.
Dang, yeah, it's just sad to see. Like, this is the start of the fall. It's just sad to see.
But alas, I love the little transition from Karstark saying, like, you lost the day you married her, and then it shows Talisa approaching Catelyn, and thus begins my favorite scene of the episode. Catelyn making a prayer wheel for the faith of the Seven, and Talisa offers to help. And Catelyn goes, "Nope, you can't." And Talisa's like, "I am so sorry. I'm going to go ahead and get the fuck away. Sorry. I'm so sorry." And she's like, "No, you can't help." And you can tell she's like, "I really don't want to do this, but you know what? You mean well, and I see that, but okay. You can't help because only a mother can make it for her children. That is the only reason you can't help." And Talisa keeps asking questions. She keeps presenting interest, and Catelyn continues to seem annoyed, but politely responding in kind, which I was like, it was just a really fantastically performed sequence.
Yeah. That's why I gave Michelle Fairley. Michelle Fairley the performance here, mainly because like I like the scene a lot. Like it was just, I was debating on whether giving this my scene or the people who are in my scene the performance, but I'm like, no, the people who are in my scene don't deserve a performance nod. But
right.
Michelle Fairley, like,
she's incredible.
Whenever she heard the news of her children possibly being dead and her, her father being right, it's her dad.
Yes,
right?
It's her father.
So I mean, she took that news, and it's like, sad to see someone take that, whatever. But like that was great, and then this scene especially.
This scene is different.
Scene. Yeah,
like
this scene is where she gets the performance. For sure.
Yeah. Whenever she reveals that she's only made them twice before, one of which was when she was praying for Bran to wake from his coma, which worked after a fashion. He did survive, though he lost the use of his legs. And Talisa asks of the other time. And Catelyn says that when they were younger, one of the boys had pox. And Maester Luwin said that if he survived the night, he would be all right, but that it would be a long night. She says that she waited by his crib all night, listening to his cries and the terrible time this child was having. And Talisa asks which boy that was, and she reveals it was Jon Snow. She says that at first the thought that Jon would conveniently die of natural causes made her inwardly pray to the Seven for his end. However, Catelyn then became horrified at herself for thinking such a thing, particularly as Jon was an innocent child. The person Catelyn really hated was Jon's identified mother, a woman Jon didn't even know. So she made a prayer wheel and stayed up with him all night, praying to the gods that if they forgave her earlier wish that Jon would die, she promised she would urge Ned to have Jon legitimized as a Stark, and she would raise him as her own son. She says, Jon recovered. However, I couldn't do it. I was like, yo, and then the next line, I was so fucking close to picking that as the line. All that has happened, all that my family has lost, everything can be traced back to the fact that I couldn't love a motherless child. And I was like, I'm crying at this point, dude. Like,
it's already there. You're there in the scene, just her saying it. But then when it shows Jon on the screen that second after, and then you're just like, oh fuck. I don't know. The reason I was debating on picking up my scene is because like just the scene itself was so good, and her monologue. I don't know if you want like But yeah,
Right.
it kind of is a monologue, and then but just like that transition to John, like just it's what the show does constantly. Most transitions are that way. Like every time you're going into it, it's not like you're just popping up in a random place in Westeros and you're like checking in with someone. It's usually like, oh, this character just in King's Landing referred to someone in the Riverlands, and now we're going to go to the Riverlands. And then at the end of the Riverlands, they refer to someone at the John, and then we go to John, or like so it's they connect it in a way that's just so beautiful. But I think I don't know, Michelle Fairley just encapsulates that kind of for me, like in total for the scene. So that's why I just kind of limit it to just the performance nod. But man, I don't know. It's probably the strongest part of the episode for me. Like it was just so beautiful.
It was so good.
Yeah.
It was so good. Yeah, she's she says that Catelyn says, because of everything, because of all of this, the gods are punishing me for my misconduct. So she's like, I can only blame myself.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It was brutal. Like I remember this scene a little bit. I just didn't remember. It didn't ever hit me this hard before for some reason.
Yeah, right.
I don't know why.
Well, there's just this layer to it now where we know his true parentage. We know we've keyed in on the way she's treated John a lot more through this week by week rewatch. It's just like it's a heavy scene because we care about every character more than I care about every character more than I have before,
Yeah.
But nevertheless, not too far away in the Riverlands, Arya, Gendry, and Hot Pie are heading north from Harrenhal, planning to eventually reach the Red Fork of the Trident River and then follow it west to her grandfather's castle seat at River Run. And off-screen, Arya explained to the boys how Jaqen helped them escape because he offered that he would kill any 3 people she named. And Gendry's like, you fucking moron. You could have killed any 3 fucking people. You could have said King Joffrey or Tywin Lannister and ended the entire war. And Arya's like, apparently I couldn't have. Sorry, I tried.
Got you out of Harrenhal, though. You're welcome.
Yeah, for real. And she says, as they advance in the forest, they run into a scouting party of the Brotherhood Without Banners, a group of outlaws led by Thoros and Myr, and they recognize them as the group the Lannister torturers were asking about at Harrenhal. And Thoros seems friendly, and they make the children come with them, and they later give them food. I loved all of that. The fucking arrow to the sky,
and I'm done.
But your friends over here. I love Thoros of Myr. Incredible character.
Yeah, the Brotherhood was pretty cool, and like their whole thing too is like this. The whole 7 Kingdoms is in this rally, whatever, for the 5 kings, and they're all doing whatever, fighting for blah blah. But we're here we're here for the people. They were like the people, the freedom fighters, I guess. I don't know. It's just it's cool to see all the different groups, that spring up. Through the war, it's just the world building that you can have. Just
it's too good.
A group like this, but I don't know.
Yeah, but they take them.
Is this? I'm just trying to. I don't know if I'm very lost. Is this where the fire sword resurrection guy starts from?
Yes,
like in here.
Yes.
Okay.
Of course, this is the guy who resurrects him.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I was mixing 2 groups together.
And we've also already heard of Thoros of Myr multiple times throughout this watch because there's this whenever the Iron Islands rebelled at the Siege of Pike, Thoros of Myr led the charge through with his flaming sword, and we've heard about it from like Ned and Jorah and all these different people because it was like this legendary action. And then we meet Thoros of Myr, who just seems like a kooky old fuck, and it's like, okay, I love shit like that. It's just really funny. But they take the kids to the local inn, give them some food and drink. And Gendry says he used to work as a smith in King's Landing for Tobo Ma, and Thoros is like, haha, he was a fucking dick. He charged double what every other smith did. And Gendry's like, it's because he was doubly as good.
Yep.
And Arya insists that she knows how to use a sword despite Thoros' disbelief. You know, her brothers taught her. But when she tries to mock Fence, he quickly disarms her and he turns around and says, "To your brothers!" I was like, oh, man. But
Yeah, she's learning. She's learning.
Yeah, exactly.
If in a fight, she can do well and defend herself, but she's learning the brutality of the world. You know, it's not a fair fight out there. It's not, you're not dancing, you know, in a castle anymore.
Nah.
So it's very valuable lessons she's learning. But
For show. But when they finish up with that, other brothers of the Brotherhood return to the inn with a captive Sandor Clegane. Oh, a hound. And as Thoros trades insults with Sandor, Arya tries to leave quietly, but the hound stops her. Girl. And he looks at Thoros and Miri. He goes, "What in the seven hells are you doing with the stock, bitch?" And they look over at her, and Arya's like, "God damn it. Of all the people to be able to recognize her immediately, Sandor Clegane, the Hound. I love it."
And how they captured the Hound,
Who the fuck knows?
I don't know.
Who the fuck knows?
But I just, is this like the start of them? Like, this is, because I'm trying to think of, because they go, I don't know, they're together for, no, is it Arya and the Hound together for a while? Yeah,
They're homies for like a whole season.
Yeah,
This season.
Is it just one season? Because I feel like it wasn't
season and into season
long.
4 a little bit,
Okay,
because
so
it's whenever she splits off from the Hound is when she heads across the Narrow Sea to Bravos.
Okay, so it is for a little bit then.
It's for a couple seasons, because the way that I always remember it is because he tries to take her to the Frey wedding, and they see the Red Wedding happen, but don't get killed because the Hound saves her and is like, "We have to go. I'm so sorry, but that's it."
Okay. Wow. Oh my God. Yeah. Because I knew eventually I'm just like, well, she goes to Bravos and she goes, you know, over there, and I'm like, well, whoa.
Yeah. Now we're getting what is probably one of my favorite storylines throughout the entire show is about to start with the Hound and Arya.
Classic trope.
Oh yeah, the grizzled bear of a man and the young girl who he cares for begrudgingly, doesn't want to admit, but he does, and I love it. But finally, Jaime and Brienne are slowly making their way across the country through the Riverlands, heading to King's Landing, intending to make the prisoner exchange for the Stark girls. Really just Sansa. But Jaime continues to mock Brienne along the way, and Brienne is wary enough to not let Jaime out of her sight, even insisting on keeping him on a leash and watching while he urinates so he doesn't slip away. And Jaime deduces that Brienne isn't from the north because he would have noticed her at Winterfell when he visited there. So she must be a Baratheon supporter, and she angrily denies supporting Stannis. So he's like, Renly then. Okay, cool.
Stannis, yeah. This I haven't said my favorite scene. It's because it took until this. It's because it's so simple. It's just two characters walking.
Oh, and it was beautiful to look at.
Yeah, walking and talking, and like whenever she says no, God's no, and then eventually says, "You fancied, Renly." No, I did not fancy him. And then he turns back. By the gods, you did. It's just like they're starting to get cute now. I don't know. Like it's not Jaime solely just insulting her. He's still insulting her, and I get whatever.
But now it's like more playful. It's more playful.
It's and I don't know. They're getting cute, and eventually you get a fight, but the fight between them. And it's not the fairest fight. It's not like everyone's like, oh, who would win in a fight at their peaks. We always like to talk.
You move well,
but this was so much better. Like this is so much better. Jaime, saying like, I have a conundrum for you. You kill me, you fail Lady Stark. You don't kill me, like, I don't know. It's just, it adds another layer to the fight instead of it just being Jaime's in armor, Brienne's in armor, and they're going to fight, and one of them will eventually get the upper hand, in sword play. It's like, no, this is way better, and makes it way more interesting to watch. So that's why I pick it as my favorite scene is they're walking, and I like them just talking, but then the actual fight itself had purpose.
Oh, so good.
Like, meaning and everything.
Probably the most compelling part of their storyline this episode for me is the friendly traveler who they come across. And Jaime goes, he recognized me. You have to kill him. And Brienne going, no, he didn't. It'll be okay. I can't do that. And like, I almost picked Gwendolyn Christie for the performance because her eyes are like welling up with tears because I think she knows what she needs to do, but she will not do it. She won't do that. That's not. She
doesn't want to admit it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. She doesn't want to admit it. And
this guy does end up fucking them.
Yeah. I mean, and Jaime knew like right away because like that dude was like, oh, yep, what up? All right, I'm off. It was very fast and he was like, all right, I'll see you later. Like Jaime knew and it was kind of clear that Brienne also knew, but was like, I can't, like, no way I can just kill that dude.
Right.
And I love that Jaime's always picking at that though. Like, you better not fail your Lady Stark. You better keep me, alive. What are you gonna do if he goes and tells the whole town that I'm Jaime Lannister? What are you gonna do?
What then?
And like, it's constantly like you can just see Brienne like, what do I do? But it's like, I just love seeing their relationship build just slowly, just up. And their fight was awesome. And up until the end, I don't know. I would like to imagine that they just sliced down every single horse and man that because they're just Brienne and Jaime and they just went off right there. But
no,
it's okay.
Nope, they get arrested and it results in Jaime losing a hand, Brienne falling in love, and et cetera, et cetera. But
Thrones,
nevertheless, they almost make her fight a bear. Regardless, let's give this episode a rating. I believe we hit all the favorites.
Indeed, we did. Yes.
Enjoyment wise, I'm pretty high on this one. Not like not a perfect 10 or anything, but I think it's close to a 9.
That's what I was gonna say. A little bit higher than last episode. It's either on the same level as last episode, or maybe I don't know. This was just a nice sit back, very relaxing episode of Thrones,
right?
Almost. And yeah, I don't know. 9 was my gut. I'd say like it does that little relaxing part gives it that little bump,
gives it a little boost. It does.
I did enjoy. Are we still doing genre, but not like, are we
because this is a 10, is it not?
I mean, we get Bran and all that fantasy stuff. That was like nuts. And then just Marjorie, her game, like all that's.
I say we push through season 3.
Yeah.
If season 3 is all 10s, then come season 4, we can go ahead and go, all right, let's go ahead and nix the genre rating. Because we have had episodes where it doesn't get a 10 in the genre in Game of Thrones. But I don't know if they've officially found their footing, and now every episode is a 10. We will see.
Yeah. Because, I don't know, it is fair whenever if we're comparing this to other TV shows, you need that 10 in there because other TV shows, it's not a 10 every single time.
Right.
But if this is just a Game of Thrones rewatch, and they are 10s every time, maybe we do add we split critical into like story and
right.
I don't know, maybe we split it up way more. Or, I don't know, something like that. But
yeah, we'll figure it out.
But yeah, this episode, yeah,
we'll keep genre for at least season 3, and we'll see if we ever want to change it. But yeah, it's a 10 again there. And critically, it's a damn good episode. Like I'm real high on it. What did we give last week?
A 9.
I'd say it's on even footing. Like it's right there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any visually. That's the thing. I took too many screenshots, so very very good looking. The stories not necessarily all the action or riveting, that of Thrones that you get every time, but this is the good parts of the show. If I don't know, you just want to sit back and relax, watch a nice episode of Thrones. They did perfect on that foot, like for an episode of television. So yeah, I'd say pretty on par with last episode.
I tend to agree.
So I guess that would I haven't put in that there. Yeah, just a little bit above last episode. This a 9.33, which last episode was a 9.25. So
All right,
just that little bump.
just that little bump. I appreciate that, and I tend to agree. But yeah, it was another great episode of Thrones, and there's going to be nothing but great episodes for a while here. And I'm so glad we're covering it because this shit has been massively enjoyable. But with that, we will conclude this episode of Winter is Blooming. If you would, head to patreon.com/PennyBloomPod, where you'll find over 50 hours of exclusive content, including all sorts of movie and book reviews, comic book pull lists, all sorts of content over there. And for $3 a month, you can support this podcast financially, which is huge because it costs me money and I don't make any off of it unless it's over there. So head over there, please. And thank you. Head to Twitter. Follow at Penny Bloom Pod. Follow on Instagram at Penny Bloom Podcast. Remember to leave a 5-star rate and review wherever it is that you might be listening. If you're fucking with me and Joe, this Wednesday we continue Rebellion's Bloom with the conclusion of the Bad Batches season. We're covering season 2, episode 14 through 16 this Wednesday. That'll be a lot of fun. And then Friday, our comic book movie journey through film continues with Blade, officially starting a sort of new era in comic book movies there with Blade. And we'll be joined by Azure, friend I went to high school with, and I'm very excited for that one. Can't wait for you to hear it. Had some connection issues, and I won't lie, you will be able to tell. If you would, thank Joseph George with me for being here. Thank you, Joe. How you doing? Thanks.
Oh, yeah, thank you. It's always a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
And it's always a pleasure to have you. I was Colton Robertson, and remember, peace, love, and bloom, and some people will always need help. That doesn't mean they're not worth helping.